Friday, May the 1st, Matthew chapter 17. I specifically mention it's Friday because I have done the first 17 of these devotionals, and starting this weekend, for the next 7 weekends, I'm going to have, next 6 weekends, I'm going to have each of my 6 sets of co-pastors do a devotional with the chapters in line on Saturday and Sunday for the next 6 weekends. I'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the co-pastors will do Saturday and Sunday. We'll do that for 6 weeks just to kind of experiment. Again, a lot of our Liberty Church people are eager to hear from our co-pastors. We have beautiful co-pastors, and so we'll start this weekend, Friday and Saturday, with our Saturday 5 Alive co-pastors, Pastors Chuck and Katrina, and then next weekend will be our Saturday 7, Seventh Heaven co-pastors, Pastors Russell and LaToya, and then we'll go right on through Sunday 8:15, Sunday 10, Sunday noon, and Sunday 6 p.m., and each week get to hear from our co-pastors, and I'll do, again, the Monday through Friday, so I'll do 5, and then they'll do 2 each weekend. So I'm going to pick it up today, Friday, and I'm going to do the 17th of chapter of Matthew. Matthew 17 is this wow story where it says Jesus, after took Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and they go up on this high mountain by themselves where he was transfigured. It says his face shone like the sun, his clothes became as white as the light. I don't think there was any way to describe on earth what they actually saw. And then it says, just then there appeared before them Moses and Elijah. Just a couple thoughts here. One is the mercy of God. When you read the story of Moses, it is so painful that Moses never got to go into the promised land. And when you understand typology, you understand that Moses represents the law, and Joshua, which is the Hebrew name for the word Jesus, represents faith. It's faith that takes us into the promised land, not the law. So there was a symbolism there. But yet God is so merciful that he allowed this heavenly Moses to come down and step into the promised land to meet with Jesus, just because God is just merciful. So though while he lived on earth in an earthly body, he couldn't come into the promised land, once he got to heaven, God just said, well, go ahead and visit Jesus down on the mountain. I just see the of course, there's context there for Revelation and the 2 witnesses. I realize all that. But just the fact that Moses got to come into the promised land, I think that's kind of neat. And then, of course, we just covered yesterday where Peter, talks first, thinks second, and having that same disease, talk first, think second. Peter speaks up again, and he says, Lord, it's good for us to be here. If you wish, I'll put up 3 shelters for us, one for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. Without realizing it, what Peter had done was he had placed Jesus on an equal level with Moses and Elijah. And that's why the next verse is so important. If you've never noticed it, it was very offensive to the Father that Peter placed Jesus on the same level as Moses and Elijah. And that's why while he was still speaking, a bright cloud enveloped him, and a voice came from the cloud saying, this, not Moses and Elijah, this, Jesus is my son whom I love. With him I'm well pleased. Listen to him. And so Peter is like, oh, and I did it again. I ran in my mouth too quick, But that aspect of the fact that it was a big deal to the Father. This is not 3 great guys. This is 2 of the greatest guys ever, and the Son of God, God in the flesh, the Messiah. And so that's why the Father interrupted Peter and said, stop right there. This is my son. Great insight there for me personally. Now go over to Proverbs chapter 1, since it's the first day of the month. In Proverbs chapter 1, the first passage all about attaining wisdom and discipline, great opening, but I want to zip on down to verse 17. Proverbs 1:17, it starts actually way back in verse 10. It says, if sinners entice you, do not give in to them. If they say, come along with us, let's lie in wait for someone's blood, let's waylay some harmless soul. And you can almost picture all of the young people, whether they were 8 years old or 15 years old, who were enticed to do unkind or cruel or evil acts towards other human beings. And there's always this cover of, we'll get away with it. And verse 17 says, how useless to spread a net in full view of all the birds. I'm going to pause there for just a minute. What that verse says is, young man, young woman, or older man, older woman, but especially young people, when you start going off and your heart starts hardening, and you start giving your heart over to rebellion, hear this clearly. Everybody sees it. Everybody sees it. Everybody sees it. How useless to spread a net in full view of all the birds. Because when a young person's heart is clean, it shows. Remember, we read a couple days ago where the eye is the lamp of the body. Your eyes are open. Your heart is clean. You look your parents in the eye. There's a tenderness and there's a purity. And when shiftiness and sneakiness comes in, everybody sees it. Everybody, they might not say anything right away, but hear me, the word of God cannot be wrong. How useless to spread a net. What it's basically saying is you're not fooling anyone. Please turn before you go too far into a life of misery and pain. Wow, what great admonitions to wake us up early and save us. God wants to save us a life of pain and give us a life so blessed. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. I'll see you back here Monday after some great devotionals from Pastors Chuck and Katrina Campbell.